there's all this evidence, and it's going to be self-fulfilling, but these types of games have become kind of niche luxury products.
Yeah.
And they've kind of given up on, like, young players without a lot of money are being fed into the Roblox and, gacha game sewer en masse, and the industry has sort of conceded those players, and in many ways, like, kind of the future of the industry, the incoming generations of potential players kind of ceded to those spaces, where, like, optimistically they're playing Fortnite. Pessimistically, some of the news came out, they're being groomed on Roblox. I don't know, Patrick, there's news about that this week, that, like, there's increasing scrutiny of just, like, how much is Roblox kind of, like, letting, because we hear about this, we talk about, like, the moral panics that are always associated around, like, grooming activity and such. Has there been any, like, new news about, like, concerns around people getting access to, like, kids on Roblox, or is this just kind of another front of overstated moral panic stuff?
It's I don't think it's both is and isn't overstated, right? Like, it is true that Roblox, by sheer scale, is full of predators, and it's a playground for young children, thus is going to attract predators, because it's a consolidated space where you can find a certain demographic with real confidence.
Yeah.
And Roblox, due to, and the same with Facebook or any other social network, if you think of Roblox more as a social network, they chase sheer numbers, and deal with the individualized backlash and scrutiny that comes with not actually scaling up the proper amounts of moderation that would be required, and the tools required to keep spaces like this safe. And then, like, this is the state of the kind of cleanup that Roblox was just sued by the state of Louisiana. This is why there's a bunch of this stuff in the news. Roblox is sued all the time for lawsuits related to, children being groomed or exploited in Roblox. But the state of Louisiana is really stepping up the scrutiny, which is why I got an email on, always want to get safety news from Roblox on Friday evening at 6:17 p.m. That's the witching hour in which we want to admit some things and roll out some changes, but we don't really want to talk about them. First bullet point here is, apologies for the mass email on a Friday afternoon, sharing some important safety updates from Roblox, including, we're expanding our policy that prohibits romantic and sexual content to also prohibit content settings or behavior that implies sexual activity. That means we're restricting social hangout experiences depicting spaces, such as bathrooms and bedrooms, to users who are ID verified and 17 or older. Which, you might read that in sentence and go, does that mean up until Friday night at 6:17 p.m., they were allowing social spaces in bathrooms with sexualized promotion by the creators of those spaces? That is true. That is true. That was just allowed for everybody on Roblox. And, well, how do they monitor that stuff? Well, don't worry. They have AI to come in and make sure. Now, again, this is a matter of scale, right? Like, you can't actually, at the scale that Roblox is at, which is hundreds and millions of young people, you cannot actually hire enough people to do the moderation necessary to keep everyone safe. So you do have to rely on, we use AI, but the idea that there are tools that flag phrases or behavior are useful at doing moderation at scale. Of course, the natural response to that is well, why does it have to be that big? Like if you just didn't scale that big, you'd be able to do this in a safer way. Well, they're not going to do any of that without actual regulation or scrutiny. So, is Roblox if your child gets a Roblox, are they going to be groomed? No, probably not. But the heightened scrutiny for Roblox is necessary and important to make it, because it's not going anywhere. Roblox is not going to disappear. It is going to be the predominant platform that most young people grow up on and have a lot of what they think are games which are more like social adjacent or social centric on Roblox. So it's important that there are headlines that say Roblox is a predatory paradise, because that's the only way like these changes end up getting enacted. And it's not going to come through regulatory well, maybe it will, but it'll be bad regulatory pressure, like the stuff that just happened in the UK.
That'll, I'm sure the AI industry is frantically being like, we will be the solution to these things, because again, God forbid we acknowledge that, well, at a certain point, the problem of scale means we can't protect users at all at this scale.
Basically, and that's Facebook's line. That's Roblox's line. Is like, well, in order to
the government's position has been, yep, sounds good to us. Like, you're right, that'd be unreasonable. The business has to scale to a point where it's completely irresponsible. So fuck it. I guess you tried.
Pretty much, and that is sort of where Roblox finds itself. It's backtracking. Like, it's like, okay, now we scaled. We're a public IPO. We're making a ton of money. Now we'll find ways to placate, or have PR-friendly ways of introducing tools or AI or updated moderation practices. And their tools are much better. Like, the parental controls in Roblox from a couple of years ago versus now are meaningfully better and safer and give you more control over the experience your children are going to have on there. But it's still, like, functionally they are a social network that is interested in mass scaling of users, and they will only introduce parental controls and moderation practices that are sort of forced upon them. But it's important that stuff exists, because all the kids are using it, and they're going to keep using it.
I'm not. I suspect AI will not be able to weed out these users very, very, very effectively. More likely that they'll deploy like AI honeypot, like where it's okay. There's a ton of pervs in Roblox. But don't worry, your kid's safe, because they're all talking to like these dozen AI accounts, chat bots that are like, my parents don't understand me. Could I come stay with you? And it'll just be like creeps talking to chat bots in sort of infinite recursion.
Well, and some of the issue is, like, I get press releases all the time for stuff like this for related to crossplay. The solution a lot of parents are thinking about is then embedding on your network or devices deeply invasive, basically spyware. Privacy tools, privacy invasive tools. Like, I got this one called Bright Canary. Fed up parents turn to Bright Canary's AI monitoring tool to keep kids safe on Snapchat, text messages, and other iOS apps. And it's basically putting a government surveillance state on your network or device, in which, like, it's not just like scanning for red flags, like, hey, we have identified some potentially like grooming like behavior, like that we've picked up on in your children's like Facebook Messenger messages, like you should talk to your child and potentially investigate. This is like, we're going to give you full text dumps of the diary of your children in a way that will allow you to be, a 21st century parent. So I wrote back to them. I haven't written about this yet. I'm still catching up from Europe. But I was like, hey, parent here, obviously, but like, what is the balance here between like wanting to protect our children, but also understanding that most of their version of a diary is they're like being online? Like, shouldn't we respect that in some way? And the CEO and co-founder of Bright Canary, Carl Stilner, disagrees with the idea of there being some sort of balance between that. He wrote to me, "Nothing a child does on a device is private. Assuming otherwise can leave children vulnerable to exploitation, sexploitation, and other serious risks. They need supervision. Some kids are quite literally dying from misplaced belief in online privacy. With grooming, mental health concerns, and drug sales happening on platforms like Snapchat, parents not only have the right, they have a duty to know if their 12-year-old is talking to a stranger online. Giving a child a smartphone is like dropping them off in the middle of a busy, unfamiliar city. And yet, many kids are allowed to message and explore online without supervision, even though there are billions of strangers on the other end of their smartphone. We aren't peering in as much as we're adapting parenting for the digital age. Most parents know who their kids hang out with in real life, but it's nearly impossible online unless parents have tools to stay involved. Bright Canary makes it easier. And that's like the other scary part is like Roblox doesn't do the work to sort of do like what is like when you drop your a child off at a mall or something like that, which is not a thing people do anymore, but like walk with me here. You sort of are relying on the infrastructure of like the society to sort of like, yeah, like I guess my kid would be kidnapped here, but like I'm relying on the infrastructure of this mall and like the the police that we have and like the kindness of other people to keep them safe, despite the fact that something catastrophic could happen. Roblox has historically and other platforms have not even attempted to have the infrastructure to seem like they're keeping your kids safe. And then you have companies like Bright Canary that walk in and take advantage of the very natural like fears that parents have. It's like, okay, well, the solution to Roblox not doing very much to protect my child is to put in a surveillance state in the house in which they can't send a message to their friend without me getting a summarized AI alert of what they talked about last night about what happened in like, fifth period biology class. Like that's fucked up. Like leave your kids alone. There are better ways to do this than to like put a tracker like on everything they do online.
Yeah, I just that quote you read, Patrick, had me flashing back to that Eric Adams video showing you like how to search your child's room. Just absolutely legendary, just weirdo energy, just crackling through that video. But it is also like anyone who like traffics in like the really heightened rhetoric around like protecting children from the world effectively is what it amounts to, right?
Yeah.
That it is a big world full of unknowns and variables, and there's potential evil out there that could find your children, because there is always evil out in the world, but the energy of these things always has that like unhinged, hyper controlling, intrusive, honestly, like just kind of deranged as table stakes, really, right? Where it's your child is not someone with any kind of agency that you have to respect. It is just an asset that you have to control and dominate and protect. And there is no concept of, at a certain point, this person's going to have to function in this society as a young adult and then a fully grown adult. They're going to have to navigate this. There's just this notion that they're always under siege. They're always beset by threats. And the answer is that you should become their jailer as much as their parent, basically doing like snap inspections of their inner life. It's really dystopian and really gross. I don't... Like, just hearing that, like, I think, I don't think we have to worry about that with our audience, but, like, anyone for whom that resonates, I think, is an unfit parent. It's like, that is so far outside the lines of having any sort of respect for children.
But the rhetoric there is to make you feel bad if you're not,
yeah.
Right? And I that's the pitch at a lot of these companies is, you just hand your child the device and let them be taken advantage by online predators? What kind of parent are you? We have the solution. And the solution is $99.99 a month for perpetuity network monitoring of your child's like private life.
We basically like made your keylogger smarter, and now it'll just give you text digests rather than just dumps. But yeah, it's gruesome. It's gruesome stuff, and also kind of ridiculous because a lot of times the threat is not necessarily lack of parental visibility. I mean, that's always part of the concern, but it's also just that like parents, like anyone, have a limited amount of attention. So it's okay. So here's the new thing you got to do as a parent. You got to be aware of what your kid's doing online. You got to be asking questions like, what are you up to? Who are the friends? What's going on in your online life? But then you got to read their chat logs. So after a long day of work, and then a long day of course, being an involved parent, you're going to have, well, this is past second shift. Now we're into third shift. You're going to be up there at like 2 a.m. reading the digest,
combing through
from their chat logs.
Well, even though a lot of these companies Google's particularly bad about this. They have a really good parental controls app called Family Link that I quite like. But like one of the most like notable radicalization tools for young children these days is YouTube, right? And what YouTube will tell you, they've gotten much better. Like the stuff where like, your kids are going to get serviced the grossest shit imaginable on YouTube Kids, like that doesn't, they have cleaned all that stuff in the wake of that. I think it was like a Wired report. It was like, do you know what your kids are fucking watching on
wow, even before Katie Drummond got
Kids?
there?
Yeah, this is ages
Damn.
ago. Like YouTube Kids got specifically, there's YouTube
No,
and YouTube
I
Kids.
remember it because it was like just creepy, weird shit.
You want to watch Elsa get pregnant? Like it was like really like upset. Now there's just, it's full of AI slop. But
I mean, who cares? Like, I mean, Caillou was popular, and that was basically the same thing.
But so, for example, like, I'd love to know more about what my like child is watching on YouTube. Like, currently, I sort of rely on like these age buckets that then filter out certain types of content and creators. And YouTube will tell you, like, dude, just log into their account. You can go over to this tab, and you can see an entire watch history. But like, who is fucking doing that? Like same like at 2 a.m, I'm like, well, time to pour like a little nightcap, and then go through the individual watch history of the last 2 weeks of my daughter's YouTube account. Like, I ain't got time for that, and also it's just not practical. Whereas like, what would be much more useful is like once a month, it's like, here's a summary of like your child spent like 16 hours watching this channel, and like here's who they are, like here's what this channel, you know what I mean? Like there are ways that companies could like grasp their data and provide sort of itemized reports that give you a sense of like,
Right.
Like I could then have a conversation with my kid like, hey, like Afnow is this YouTuber that my daughter watches a lot because of Minecraft, and I know that because she mentioned it to me. But like, there should be a way that like you're hoovering up all this data, like spit it back to me in a way that is palatable. But they don't actually, they just want to say, much like Roblox, like, we want to say we made changes. Like, you can access the data, we're not going to make it useful to you, but like, well, you can access it.
Also, maybe they've gotten this stuff better, but like I remember I was friends with kids, the speed at which people were like, all right, I got this locked down YouTube Kids account, Netflix Kids account, it's great. All right, the kid is aged out of that a little bit, or fuck it, it's just a hassle. So everyone's just like going straight into the parental account. Like, fuck it, we're not even messing with that, because like, who wants to mess with those multiple logins? So like, we got this whole, well, if the first thing the kid learns to do is turn on device, access parental account. Like, don't use that nerfed account. Like, go straight to the real shit.
my oldest one, this is a couple of years ago, she it was during COVID, so I think she was home, maybe she was sick. I don't know. But anyway, regardless, she was home, and I was busy doing a podcast, and she was supposed to have like an hour to play Roblox or something like that. Then the device would lock, and you have to go do something else until Dad is finished with his meeting, with his podcast recording. And it came back up, and she was still on her device. I asked her, like, how did you? Did I mess up? Did I accidentally give you all day access? And she's like, no. I'm like, well, what happened? She's like, well, I was sending the screen time requests through my tablet and then going over to your tablet, and I know the code, and then I was approving the screen time requests on your tablet. And that's like, are you mad? I'm like, I'm not. That's super funny. You shouldn't be able to do that. That's my bad. But I'm actually, it's like the Anchorman thing. Like, I'm not even mad. I'm like, I'm impressed. Like, that was actually pretty clever, kiddo. Like, I'm not gonna, don't do it again, but you get my tacit seal of approval on that one.
I mean, it's a rite of passage circumventing parental control. That is part of how you grow up. But yeah, I mean, it's so good. Basically, I just need a push notification if like, if you're a parent, like, okay, my kid watched the Mr. Beast video. Like, but that needs to be like fucking Amber Alert. Like, my phone is going,
shit.
Burn.
Fuck.
Hey, why are you watching this guy? Why are you watching this guy torture these people for money? No, we're watching.
He's building
what?
water
I'm putting on
filtration
vintage
systems, Rob. Come
Mr.
on.
Rogers. Mr. Beast is out. Mr. Rogers is in.
No, that's what's her face? Miss Rachel.
Miss Rachel.
She's out here shouting "Free Palestine" and putting up middle fingers at Anyone who tells her other, it's incredible. Like it's caused like if you're not familiar.
Oh
with,
no, yeah, but talks through.
I mean, the short version is Miss Rachel dodged our house, not for any reason. The kids just didn't get into her, but she is started as a YouTube creator. I think she has a Netflix show now too, but really good, like child educator for like preschool era kids. So we're talking like 3, 4, like 2, 3, 4 sort of age, like really good at explaining basic educational concepts in like a really fun way. Again, she's often been compared to Mr. Rogers because she has a similar sort of demeanor and non-judgmental embracing of children. Like really, really wonderful person. If they're going to watch something, you're fine watching Miss Rachel. But she's become like very outwardly, again, not anti-Israel, like pro-Palestinian, like featuring Palestinian children, traveling to Palestine, and dealing with a ton of backlash, like as a result. And instead of like turning away from that and being like, my bad, like I touched the stove. All right, let's go back to talking about the ABCs. She's just doubled down on doing interviews and featuring Palestinian children and like making that a part of her content. Like basically her message is basically they're human too. And that's made a lot of people mad. And it's been really wonderful and inspiring to see. So if you're unfamiliar with it, really recommend checking out like the work she has been doing there, because it's a real balm in a sea of like of Gal Gadot's of the world.
Well, and it's also like one of those things where it so gives the game away, where it is like people like ban this anti-Semitic filth.
Yeah.
And is Miss Rachel being like, I think children should not be slaughtered in aerial bombardments and artillery strikes. And that's like, if you're like, well, that's just horrifically anti-Semitic, then the game is given away at that point, right? Where it's like, 100%. I like kids. And it's like, well, I like bombing them, and fuck you. You should lose your livelihood for saying that. Because if we acknowledge the humanity of these people, then what is happening is obviously morally heinous and indefensible. And to degree, this has always been police. I think if you have followed like news in around Palestine and across the Arab world, really, but Palestine, always this comes up a lot because it's always been like direct military violence against civilian populations. One of the problems that Israel and supporters have always had to solve is, hey, we kill a lot of families and children. And so the rhetoric has always leaned towards how can you make it so that a child becomes a viable military target? Is one thing, and then you even unhinged rhetoric around basically like, you just don't understand that the Palestinian culture, the Arab culture, doesn't value children in the same way we do. Like when you see these staged funeral videos with people, pretending to grieve. Well, that's not how we grieve. We have quiet, respectful funerals. We don't make a big spectacle out of it. So obviously this is staged to make you feel bad. That's been standard rhetoric around this stuff for years and years. And now it's just being carried out at such a colossal scale that you kind of can't escape it. And yes, now Israel and its advocates are feuding with someone named Miss Rachel, whose whole deal is like, right. I like kids and I'm a big sweetheart and just want kids to feel good and safe and cared for. And iPad gives out like, this person should be in a prison. Like, we should be man in the iron masking Miss Rachel. So that's that is interesting stuff though. Across the board. I was curious about that Roblox situation because I did see stuff about the lawsuits. And yes, I'm sure the solution will always be more surveillance powered by AI that needs something to do. besides apparently being added to Excel, with the caveat that AI cannot do math. Like, so again, things are going awesome at Microsoft across the board. They pushed an update this week to like Excel where it's like, all right, we're integrating Copilot to Excel.
But Copilot's
Funny
an LLM,
thing about
right?
Copilot, it can't do math. So if your Excel spreadsheets, if it is a priority that the math that the Excel sheet does is like correct, then you may not want Copilot anywhere near that, but it's in there anyway.
My discovery of that, I think I shared it on HOA, where it was like, okay, I don't have any reason to even experiment with AI in my workflow, like aside from my philosophical problems with it as a baseline technology. But like, I wonder if it could make adding up my expenses. Like, can I just dump all those in and add it up? And in Kato, I had this, I kept putting it in, and the numbers would be off by like 2 or 3 cents when I would do it manually, and it made me pull my hair out. 'Cause I'm like, am I adding it incorrectly? This is supposed to be this transformative technology. Like, why is it a couple cents off? Well, it's because the LLMs it's predicting what it thinks the math is going to be.
It looks right.
Actually add up the math.
Fucking Christ. I hate
Your Microsoft 365 subscription is being upgraded and will cost more.
everything.
This AI cannot do math.
We live
But
in
how many
hell.
people do you
This is
think-
hell.
Know that. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't
yeah.
tell me. It didn't tell me. By the way, I am. My underlying technology means I'm doing predictive math, not actually the calculations. Like, how many people are doing math calculations in there, and it's just all a little bit off. Like, it's mostly right, but it's a little bit off because it thinks what 4 + 4 is 8. Like, based on the model. But sometimes it's like 7.5.
Well, and like again with a spreadsheet, and this is the hell of spreadsheets. Even if you're living right, you're right with God. Little errors become big errors as the magic of the spreadsheet propagates inaccuracy through it, and things that are dependent on one answer get pushed into another calculation, and all hell breaks loose. And yeah, the nature of these AI things is, all right, we added it. It's on by default. I don't know if that's what they've done with Excel. But in so many of these things, it's like, good news. You're being charged more, and you have an AI assistant. Except it's more like the Noid running around your digital workspace, like blasting it, like with the fire extinguisher. It is, but then you need to go do the like, how do I get the AI out of this thing? And that's where you have to go hunting for like, how do I make it so that Excel's doing the real math and not vibe math that AI is good at doing.
Just opening. I'm just fucking opening Proton. Do they have sheets yet? They have Drive and Calendar and Docs. God damn it, they don't have sheets yet.
Oh, is that the Linux? Is that a Linux OS?
Proton? No, Proton Mail. It's like
Oh yeah, I use Proton Mail.
yeah. They have like a whole suite now
I
of
just-
like other products, and they're like trying to catch up with you because people are jumping ship.
Didn't they get They got in trouble for some AI stuff though, didn't? Yeah.
Did they?
Proton 1 month ago. Proton is launching a privacy-focused AI chatbot. Hell yeah!
No.
Hell yeah,
I
buddy.
love a privacy-focused AI
fucked it
chat.
up.
Hey, wait a second. If it's private, if it's a chatbot, but it's
What does that
privacy-focused,
mean? Yeah,
that
what?
means I can sext with it, right? And I won't get caught.
It'll have end-to-end encryption probably.
Yeah.
They claim that it has end-to-end encryption, so it's like it's only pulling in. I mean, what fucking who knows?
Okay, never
I give
mind.
up.
I knew they didn't have it in like the other stuff at least.
I haven't noticed.
But
I
that
use
feels like
Proton-
it's just gonna end up in there eventually if they're fucking around with this chatbot already.
Well, and I had moved a ton of my shit over to OneNote because OneNote like works with every tablet device like under the sun, which Evernote has fucked up royally and just doesn't work that way. And now like OneNote is, hey, good news. This version of OneNote, it's going away. There's a new version of OneNote coming, and I'm like, that doesn't bode well. It'll be like, hey, do you want a notebook filled with AI hallucinations? Wouldn't that be helpful? It's like, what if you had a diary, right? But while you slept, the diary wrote gibberish by itself. It's like a cursed object.